All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought number 1157. And we are going to go to Our Town by Thornton Wilder. Let me get the thing right. And Thornton Wilder. How did I get this so mixed up here? I guess I should sit over there. Okay. Thornton Wilder wrote a play called Our Town. It's a beautiful play. And right now I am trying to play with StreamYard. It's telling me that it's going to disconnect from Housecat Tracks in 6 days, and I don't know what to do yet except for maybe connect it later. Not at this moment, though. We're talking about Our Town. We're reading the book, and it's a play that is in Act 3 now. We are in Act 3. Oh, I see a message I want to take away. What if I do something wrong? Ay, ay, ay. Take away the message. Come on, take away the message. Doesn't do it. Okay, well, I can't see myself, but that's okay. I will be here, and you guys can read with me. And we are in Act 3 of Thornton Wilder's Our Town play. We are just starting it, and the light is somewhere behind the tree. Act 3. During the intermission, the audience has seen the stage hands arranging the stage. I'm arranging the camera. And on the right-hand side, a little right of the center, 10 or 12 ordinary chairs have been placed in 3 openly spaced rows facing the audience. These are graves in the cemetery. Toward the end of the intermission, the actors enter and take their places. The front row contains, toward the center of the stage, an empty chair. Then Mrs. Gibbs, Simon Stimson. The second row contains, among others, Mrs. Soames. The third row has Wally Webb. The dead do not turn their heads or their eyes to right or left, but they sit in a quiet, without stiffness. Then, when they speak, their tone is matter of fact, without sentimentality, and, above all, without lugubriousness. The stage manager takes his accustomed place and waits for the house lights to go down. Stage manager. This time, 9 years have gone by, friends. Summer 1913. That's quick. Gradual changes in Grover's Corners. Horses are getting rarer. Farmers coming into town in Fords. Everybody locks their house doors now at night. Ain't been any burglars in town yet, but everybody's heard about 'em. You'd be surprised, though, on the whole, things don't change much around here. This is certainly an important part of Grover's Corners. It's on a hilltop, a windy hilltop. Lots of sky, lots of clouds, often lots of sun and moon and stars. You come up here on a fine afternoon and you can see range on range of hills. Awful blue they are, up there by Lake Sunapee and Lake Winnipesaukee. And way up, if you've got a glass, you can see the White Mountains and Mr. Washington, where North Conway and Conway is. And of course, our favorite mountain. This is a city called Grover's Corners. It's a little town. It's our town. Mount Monadnock is right here. And all these towns that lie around it. Jaffrey and East Jaffrey and Peterborough and Dublin, and then pointing down in the audience, there, quite a ways down, is Grover's Corners. Yes, beautiful spot up here, mountain laurel and lilacs. I often wonder why people like to be buried in Woodlawn and Brooklyn when they might pass the same time up here in New Hampshire. Over there, pointing to stage left, are the old stones. Now, stage left means left when the perspective is from the stage. So you're actually pointing right in the auditorium. So he's pointing stage left, which is there. Are the old stones, 1670, 1680. strong-minded people that come a long way to be independent. Summer people walk around there laughing at the funny words on the tombstones. It don't do any harm. And genealogists come up from Boston, get paid by city people for looking up their ancestors. They want to make sure they're daughters of the American Revolution and of the Mayflower. Well, I guess that don't do any harm either. Whenever you come near the human race, there's layers and layers of nonsense. Over there are some Civil War veterans, iron flags on their graves. New Hampshire boys had a notion that the Union ought to be kept together, though they'd never seen more than 50 miles of it themselves. All they knew was the name, friends, the United States of America, the United States of America. And they went and died about it. This here is the new part of the cemetery. Here's your friend, Mrs. Gibbs. And let me see, here's Mr. Stimson, organist at the Congregational Church, and Mrs. Soames, who enjoyed the wedding so. You remember? Oh, and a lot of others. And Editor Webb's boy, Wallace, whose appendix burst while he was on a Boy Scout trip to Crawford Notch. Yes, an awful lot of sorrow has sort of quieted down up here. People just wild with grief have brought their relatives up to this hill. We all know how it is. And then time and sunny days and rainy days and snow. We're all glad they're in a beautiful place, and we're coming up here ourselves when our fit's over. Now, there are some things we all know, but we don't take them out and look at them very often. We all know that something is eternal. And it ain't houses, and it ain't names, and it ain't earth, and it ain't even the stars. Everybody knows in their bones that something is eternal, and that something has to do with human beings. All the greatest people ever lived have been telling us that for 5,000 years, and yet you'd be surprised how people are always losing hold of it. There's something way down deep that's eternal about every human being. Pause. You know as well as I do that the dead don't stay interested in us living people for very long. Gradually, they lose hold of the earth and the ambitions they had and the pleasures they had and the things they suffered and the people they loved. They get weaned away from earth. That's the way I put it. Weaned away. And here they stay while the earth part of them burns away, burns out, and all that time they slowly get indifferent to what's going on in Grover's Corners. They're waiting. They're waiting for something that they feel is coming, something important and great. Aren't they waiting for the eternal part of them to come out clear? Some of the things they're going to say maybe will hurt your feelings, but that's the way it is. Mother and daughter, husband and wife, enemy and enemy, money and miser, all these terribly important things kind of grow pale around here. And what's left when memory's gone and your identity, Mrs. Smith? He looks at the audience a minute, then turns to the stage. Well, there are some living people. There's Joe Stoddard, our undertaker, supervising a new made grave. And here comes a Grover's Corners boy that left town to go out west. Joe Stoddard has hovered about in the background. Sam Craig enters left, wiping his forehead from the exertion. He carries an umbrella and strolls front. Okay, so we are setting the tone here. What time is it? Oh, I can't tell. It's about time we paused here and we go on to the rest of Act 3 next week. It's going to be really cool, and we are setting a tone and we're creating a setting here. So we've just created the setting, and then we will go on next week to see what people have to say about Grover's Corners, our town, by Thornton Wilder. Okay, see you tomorrow. Old Kinderhook. Love you guys.